The math isn't mathing. Why? Cause I ain't leaving alone. Feel like I could be honest, babe. We both know that we're grown. That's why I wanna know. How many drinks would it take you to leave with me? Yeah, you look good and I got money, but I don't wanna waste my... Hi, welcome to my bubble, where we do a little bit of adulting, a little bit of healing, and a little bit of creating. Hold on, I have to get comfy. Oh, it's not plugged in. Whatever. We are back. Back hugging. You see the title. We back with another conspiracy theory. This one's not alien based, even though I do love that, and it's actually pretty funny. I'm trying to bang this out right before Astral Chat Live, and the title for it is, Are Aliens Visiting Earth Right Now? Crazy. Not crazy though, because we're all in the same wavelength. But anyway, this one's not alien based. This one is about Summersgate. I have heard of this before. Have not really looked into it, but I heard of the concept some time ago. And it kind of came back up relatively recently. So, what brought it back up for me, kind of, sorta, is I was watching some documentary, I don't remember, and it might have been one of the alien ones actually, but they referenced Summersgate in it, and I was like, oh yeah. So this video, we're gonna give Summersgate its own whole little thing. Now, if you never heard of Summersgate or never heard of the conspiracy theory around it or any of those kinds of things, Summersgate is apparently or supposedly a gate to the edge of the world / the rest of the world. It's the concept that in Antarctica, I believe. Yeah. The concept that Antarctica? I'm pretty sure, yeah, Antarctica. It's the concept that in Antarctica in the summer, a certain section of the ice melts, creating this gate. And apparently, like a gate wide enough for ships to go through. And apparently, if you go through the gate, there are other continents surrounded by a wall of ice. And then through that wall of ice is another set of continents also surrounded by ice. Really, in simple terms, or in the basic concept, is that Earth is actually a lot larger than what we know it to be, / what we're told, / what we're told. And you can get to it using this gate. Now, the theory claims to, offer an escape to adventurers who seek to know everything about the world, And again, this one, I think it also relates to the concept of the Earth not necessarily being flat, but what historical people were referencing is the fact that not so much that you'll fall off the edge of the Earth, but like that's what they were trying to hint at / conceptualize when they were saying, the Earth is flat. So it's not so much that the Earth is flat as much as we are fed an illusion that keeps us enclosed, in our little bubble, within this limited area. And the globe that we draw really only references our innermost circle and the continents that we know to exist. So, yeah, and if you're only fed that image, you're only fed that concept, why would you ever think that there are more continents? Why would you ever think to look for more continents if you're only told the globe is like this, For specificity, to be clear, I don't think the Earth is flat. I do think the Earth is round, but I do also believe that there are other parts that we are not able to see / are not allowed to see, all of those kinds of things. Basically, very much two things can be true, So here is an illustration that shows basically, if you look at the innermost circle, that's really the globe how we know it to be, right? Those are our continents. Those are minus the being surrounded by an ice wall. We really just know North Pole, South Pole. What is it? Antarctica and not Alaska, because Alaska's over here somewhere, but whatever's at the top. Well, I'm having a dense moment. What is it? It's Antarctica and I don't know. Whatever. So yeah, flat earthers are very familiar with this image, and with the idea of Antarctica being a wall of ice that keeps us enclosed and surrounds our known world, right? But the Summers Gate concept / theory basically claims the same thing, except mentions nothing about the earth being flat, you know? The theory says during the summer, the ice in Antarctica melts and creates an opening where ships can pass through, called the Summers Gate. Now, also this other image, apparently you can see it on Google Maps if you look it up. If you look at Antarctica, which is just below New Zealand, but like a little bit to the east, apparently near McMurdo Station, a place seems quote unquote stitched together and almost roughly painted over compared to the rest of the Antarctica coastline. Now, granted, these images are from let's call it a blog, the blog that I was reading, which is like 4 years old, but I don't know why I never thought, considering, like I said, I've heard of the theory before and I've heard of Summers Gate before, but I never thought like, maybe look it up. And the Google Maps image is not, it's not an outlandish concept to me, because I forget I don't remember if it was a high school project or something else I was doing. I don't know, but something I was doing also referenced looking at a map and it being like painted over or it being like stitched together. Really, no, what I was looking at was more painted over. So I was like, see, that's how they be hiding shit from us. Or even, I think it was, it might have been one of the documentaries I was watching about the cosmos and the aliens and things. And just like the images of, it was an alien documentary, but it was more centered around our trips into outer space, and really how they only gave us like a limited percentage of that entire trip and that entire mission, and they blacked a lot of stuff out. And they also brought up like the official printed documents of the astronauts that were out there have like missing the published document from years ago compared to recent ones that they put out of the transcriptions. They don't match. You hear the astronauts talking about things that they were seeing and all those kinds of things. I think that is what was one of the images that had like painted over and just didn't look, it just looked airbrushed, you know? So this picture with a gigantic black square, but everything else around it is blue and or white, representing the ocean and the ice, is like, Big Brother is watching. There's no way, it's not like the satellite messed up and there's a black square. Like, no, it's not foreign to think that there's something there, is my point. So yeah, the blog also mentioned, I'm calling it a blog, but I don't really know that it was. But the blog also lists reasons to consider the theory, right? Most of which having to do with the all caps miracle called the Antarctic Treaty, which I didn't know was a thing, never heard of, but I don't really get deep into governmental things. But anyway, quote, capitalism refrains from harvesting natural resources of Antarctica. And if you know about capitalism, there's not much, if really anything, that capitalism refrains from. So it's like, everybody decided to unanimously agree that Antarctica was off limits. Capitalism is willing to do all sorts of morally mischievous activities in the name of profit, but many nations agree/declared Antarctica off limits for anything but research purposes. Why? Again, I didn't even know this was a thing. I started to look into the Atlantic Treaty, but at the time I wasn't that dedicated. And on top of that, that wasn't the point of what I was looking at / looking for. But the published story around the Antarctic Treaty is that there are no natural resources in Antarctica, which for me is like, how you know that? So that means you've gone exploring to know that there are no resources there, which also says to me, again, it's not that far-fetched that they went exploring, found some stuff, and decided they don't want us to know. # dark side of the moon. But I digress. Also, quote from the blog: the government approves poisonous pesticides in our food, but won't allow big industry to touch Antarctica? The math isn't mathing. It's not something ain't right. Now, also adding to the theory is the prohibition of military activity. Again, same thing as capitalism. When, at least in the US, when have you known anything military related to be off limits? Or when have they ever withheld the military from doing something, enacting something, being somewhere, any of those kinds of things? And in instances where they should, they don't. So there's no military activity is not allowed on Antarctica. Quote: one thing the U.S. gonna do is stand their ground on military strategical positions. For example, the Diego Garcia base, which apparently moved native inhabitants of a reclusive island to an entire another country just so that they could build their secret base. Now, I thought that was interesting, and that made me want to look into that alone, because I'm like, they did what? But again, I live in the US. That's not far-fetched. They learned from the best colonizers, okay? Not a foreign concept. And even in the context of the prohibition of military activity, the quote-unquote bottom of the world, Antarctica, should offer, or in theory you would think offers, unparalleled strategic position, military-wise, right? And the three military superpowers who you would think are battling to get to Antarctica and build their base, all three, US, China, and Russia, all agree that Antarctica is off limits? Why? Quote: what could be in common interest of three superpowers above strategical superiority? They said it, not me. But yeah, also another reason to not go investigating for the Summer's Gate, and or to me anyway, another reason to believe in the Summer's Gate is that you might get killed if you go looking for it, okay? As a private person, you can explore the Antarctic Peninsula and approved locations if you got the money to do it. Cool. As a private, independent expedition, moving freely around Antarctica, in theory, it looks like a bureaucratic nightmare. Unlikely to ever actually be approved, right? But rumors say if you're at the wrong end of military action when exploring certain areas, you come up missing. Apparently, one supposedly rogue expedition that was out and about without authorization came close to the estimated location of the gate, and that resulted in multiple disappearances. The official story was the Norwegian ship Berserk 2 disappeared in a storm without a trace on February 22nd of 2009. But two of the ship's crew members were on shore at the time, and they went on a trip to the South Pole on ATVs. But they got a message from the vessel the day before it disappeared. The day before it disappeared, people on the ship said, "There's a good atmosphere and all is well. We leave Horseshoe Bay. Contact us when you can." So the two onshore members, when they got to the safety of McMurdo Station, they were confused about the New Zealand naval vessel or base, whatever, telling them that they were in contact with Berserk 2, and the New Zealand Navy told Berserk 2 that there was an incoming storm. This is the story that the New Zealand Navy told the onshore crew members. So now the onshore team members are left with the question, why would their shipmates leave safe anchorage knowing that there was a storm coming? Now, it may be far-fetched to say, like, okay, just because they decided to leave the thing and we're getting close to this supposed location of the gate, like, just because 2 + 2 = 4, like 1 + 3 also equals 4 kind of thing. But I'm just saying it adds up, and it's not far-fetched to me. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, that's basically like the bare bones concept / theory around the Summers Gate. I actually really would love to go off the record. But obviously I don't have the money for that, so that could never actually be a thing. But hypothetically, I would love to go, and if I ever actually make it through the gate, I'm not telling nobody, and I probably won't ever come back. Not to say, because I will be living luxuriously amongst the other continents, not because the military got to me. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. If you made it to the end of the video and you don't know me, hi. My name's Naori. Stick around, you love it here. Duh. Embrace being a star. Subscribe. Follow my socials. I'm posting twice a week. My post days, as of now, are Wednesday and Saturday. So, I will see you in my next video. This upcoming Saturday, I have a mukbang coming out. A little bit of motivation, a little bit of fuel to keep you chugging along and keep pushing through Q1 of 2023. I'll see you in my next video. Bye. I'd rather be smoking